everyone, and welcome back to another episode of English Vibe Podcast. I'm Daisy, and I'm so happy you're here today. Whether you're listening while traveling, studying, cooking, exercising, or simply relaxing with a cup of coffee, thank you for spending your time with us.
And I'm Harry. Today is going to be really fun because we're talking about something that confused me a lot when I first started paying attention to how native English speakers actually talk.
Exactly. Today, we're learning 20 of the most important English idiomatic phrases every intermediate learner should know.
Wait, Daisy, can I ask something?
Of course.
Why do English speakers make everything so strange? I mean, someone says, break a leg, and I'm thinking, no thanks. I want to keep both of my legs.
That's one of the funniest things about English. Idioms don't usually mean exactly what the words say. Their meanings are completely different.
Honestly, that's what scared me at first. I knew lots of English words, but whenever I watched movies or listened to podcasts, I felt lost.
You're definitely not alone. Many English learners know grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, but they still struggle to understand native speakers because idioms are everywhere.
Exactly. Someone says, it's a piece of cake, and I start looking for dessert.
Or someone says, I'm under the weather, and learners look outside the window to check if it's raining.
Ugh, that's true.
Idioms appear in movies, podcasts, TV shows, books, business meetings, office conversations, college classrooms, friendships, social media, and even job interviews. If you don't know them, you may understand every single word, but still miss the real meaning.
That's happened to me many times. Someone once told me, the ball is in your court. I thought, what ball? What court? Are we playing tennis?
Exactly. Native speakers use these expressions so naturally that they often don't even realize they're using idioms.
So today we're going to learn the ones people actually use?
Yes! Not rare expressions. Not old-fashioned idioms. Only practical idioms that you'll hear almost every day.
Nice!
We'll explain every idiom with simple meanings, natural conversations, common learner mistakes, and useful tips. By the end of today's episode, you'll not only understand these expressions, you'll also know when to use them confidently.
That sounds amazing.
And here's something important. Don't try to memorize all 20 today. Instead, choose 1 or 2 idioms and start using them in your daily conversations. That's how fluency grows.
Kind of like exercising. You don't become strong after one workout.
Exactly. Little by little. Practice every day, and soon these expressions will become natural.
I'm excited already. Should we begin?
Absolutely. Let's start with one of the most common English idioms. Have you ever heard someone say, let's break the ice?
Yeah. Maybe it means breaking frozen water? Like when people go fishing?
Good guess. But no, break the ice means to make people feel more comfortable when they first meet. It's about starting a conversation and reducing awkwardness.
Oh, so if everyone is quiet at a meeting, someone tells a joke to help everyone relax? That's breaking the ice?
Exactly. For example, at a networking event, you might say, I introduced myself and asked everyone about their favorite travel destination. It really broke the ice. In college, a professor might ask everyone to share an interesting hobby to break the ice before class. And during an online meeting, a manager might start with a funny question to break the ice before discussing business.
I like that. It makes meetings feel less stressful. Yesterday, I said, I broke the ice with my hammer.
Technically, that's possible, but that's not the idiom. Instead, say, I tried to break the ice by introducing myself. The idiom isn't about real ice. It's about social situations.
Got it. And it works in both professional and informal situations, right?
Exactly. You'll hear it during interviews, business meetings, first dates, and family gatherings.
Okay. Next one. I actually know a piece of cake. It means there is free cake?
I wish. A piece of cake means something is very easy to do.
So if an exam is really easy, I can say, the exam was a piece of cake?
Perfect. A friend might ask, how did your interview go? And you could answer, honestly, it was a piece of cake because I prepared well. Someone cooking might say, this recipe looked difficult, but it was actually a piece of cake. And in the office, the new software seemed complicated, but after one training session, using it became a piece of cake.
Yesterday I said, the homework is very piece of cake.
Almost. Say, the homework is a piece of cake. Don't put very before the idiom.
English really wants that little word a.
It does. And this idiom is informal, but extremely common.
Now I want cake.
Me too. Let's move to another useful one. Hit the books.
Wait, please don't tell me people are hitting books. Poor books.
No books are harmed. Hit the books means to study seriously.
Oh, so if I have an exam tomorrow, I can say, I need to hit the books tonight.
Exactly. Another student might say, my sister stayed home all weekend because she had to hit the books before her final exams. Or a coworker could say, I'm studying for a professional certification, so I've been hitting the books every evening after work.
I made a mistake with this one. I said, I hitted the books yesterday.
The correct past tense is, I hit the books yesterday. The verb hit doesn't change.
That's much easier than I expected.
One more thing. Use this idiom for serious studying, not for reading a novel for fun.
Got it. If I'm reading a mystery novel, I'm not hitting the books.
Exactly. Now, here's another favorite. Once in a blue moon.
Does the moon actually become blue?
Very rarely. But the idiom simply means something happens very rarely.
So, if my cousin visits only every few years, I can say, he visits once in a blue moon.
Perfect. Other examples. My grandparents travel abroad only once in a blue moon. My best friend and I are both busy, so we meet once in a blue moon. Our entire family eats at expensive restaurants only once in a blue moon.
I said, I go shopping once in a blue moon.
Don't forget the article. Say, I go shopping once in a blue moon.
That tiny A causes so many problems.
It does. And remember, use this idiom only for things that are truly uncommon. If you exercise every day, don't say, I exercise once in a blue moon, unless you're joking. We've already learned 4 idioms. Break the ice, a piece of cake, hit the books, and once in a blue moon. Honestly, they're much easier than I expected. Exactly. And we're only getting started. The next idioms are even more useful because you'll hear them in everyday conversations, at work, while traveling, and even in movies and TV shows.
Don't go anywhere. We still have 16 more practical idioms to learn, along with funny mistakes, natural conversations, and lots of tips to help your English sound more fluent.
Now that we've already broken the ice, let's keep the conversation going with another idiom that you'll hear all the time. Have you ever heard someone say, "I'm feeling a little under the weather"?
Yes, and I always imagined someone standing outside in the rain.
That's a very common misunderstanding. Under the weather simply means you're feeling a little sick or not feeling your best. Usually, it's not used for a serious illness. It's more for a cold, a headache, or when you're just feeling tired.
So, if I wake up with a sore throat, I can tell my manager, "I'm feeling under the weather today, so I'll work from home."
Exactly. That's a very natural sentence. Here's another example. A college student might tell a friend, "I skipped class because I was feeling under the weather." Or during a family dinner, someone might say, "Dad isn't joining us tonight because he's a bit under the weather." Can I use it at work too? Absolutely. Imagine your coworker asks, "Why wasn't Sarah in today's meeting?" You could reply, "She's feeling under the weather, but she'll probably be back tomorrow."
Yesterday, I told my friend, "I'm below the weather."
That's a mistake many learners make. The expression is always under the weather, not below the weather. Native speakers almost never change those words.
So, it's one complete expression that I should remember together.
Exactly. And because it's a gentle expression, it's often more polite than simply saying, "I'm sick."
That's useful. If I only have a small cold, under the weather sounds much more natural.
That's right. Now let's learn another idiom that's perfect if you have exciting news.
Ooh, I like exciting news.
The idiom is spill the beans.
Wait, are we talking about beans again? First cake, now beans?
Apparently, English speakers are always thinking about food. Spill the beans means to reveal a secret or tell information that was supposed to stay private.
Oh, so if my friend accidentally tells everyone about a surprise birthday party, he spilled the beans?
Exactly. Imagine this conversation. One friend says, "Did Emma enjoy her surprise party?" The other replies, "Actually, Jake spilled the beans 2 days earlier, so it wasn't a surprise anymore."
That's unfortunate.
Here's another situation. At work, your manager says, "Don't spill the beans about the new project until we officially announce it."
That sounds very realistic.
One more example. A brother tells his sister, "Please don't spill the beans about Mom's birthday gift."
I once said, "Don't pour the beans."
Nice try. But the idiom is spill the beans. Don't replace spill with pour. Idioms usually don't like changes.
I'll remember that. So if someone tells a secret too early, they spill the beans.
Exactly. And here's a small tip. Sometimes people use this idiom jokingly. If your friend looks excited, you might smile and smile and smile and say, "Come on, spill the beans. What happened?"
I like that. It sounds friendly instead of serious.
It really does. Speaking of money, I heard someone say, that car cost an arm and a leg. I became very worried. Thankfully, nobody is paying with body parts. Cost an arm and a leg means something is extremely expensive. So if I buy a luxury watch, I could say, it cost me an arm and a leg. Exactly. Here's another example. Your friend says, how was your vacation? You answer, it was amazing, but the hotel cost an arm and a leg.
I can imagine that during holiday season.
Absolutely. Another person might say, I'd love to buy that apartment, but it costs an arm and a leg. Or someone shopping for a new laptop might say, this model has great features, but it costs an arm and a leg. Yesterday, I told my cousin, this phone cost a hand and a leg. That's a very common mistake. The expression is an arm and a leg. Don't change the body parts.
English idioms really don't like changes.
They really don't. Also, this idiom is usually used informally. In a formal business presentation, you would probably say the product is very expensive.
But talking with friends, it costs an arm and a leg sounds much more natural.
Exactly. So far, we've broken the ice, learned that some tasks are a piece of cake, we've hit the books, talked about things that happen once in a blue moon, learned what to say when we're under the weather, discovered what happens when someone spills the beans, and now we know how to complain about expensive things. You're doing great. And I noticed something.
What?
You didn't make too many mistakes this time.
Well, I'm learning from the best teacher.
That's very kind. But remember, making mistakes is completely normal. Every mistake is another chance to improve your English.
I actually feel more confident already. When I watch English movies now, I think I'll recognize some of these expressions.
That's exactly the goal. The more often you hear an idiom in different situations, the easier it becomes to remember. Don't just memorize the meaning. Listen to how native speakers use it in conversations.
I've noticed something interesting.
What's that?
These idioms don't sound like textbook English. They sound like the English people actually speak every day.
That's a great observation. Grammar helps you build correct sentences, but idioms help your English sound natural, relaxed, and confident.
I'm excited to learn more.
Great, because the next expressions are some of my personal favorites. One of them is used in business meetings almost every day, and another is perfect when someone isn't speaking directly.
Ooh, now you've made me curious.
Good. Curiosity is one of the best ways to learn a language. You've already learned several idioms that native speakers use every day. And now we're moving into expressions that are especially useful in conversations at work, with friends, and even during interviews. Ready?
Absolutely. I actually caught myself using piece of cake yesterday.
Really? Tell me about it.
My neighbor asked if assembling a small bookshelf was difficult, and I said, "Don't worry, it's a piece of cake."
That's exactly how native speakers use it. See? You're already making progress.
That feels good.
Let's learn another very common idiom. Have you ever heard someone say, stop beating around the bush? Does it mean someone is walking around a tree with a stick? That's a funny picture. No. Beat around the bush means avoiding the main topic instead of saying something directly.
Oh, So if my friend takes 5 minutes before asking me for money, he's beating around the bush.
Exactly. Imagine this conversation. One coworker says, "Do you need something?" The other replies, "Actually, well, I was wondering, maybe, if it's okay." Finally, the first coworker says, "Just stop beating around the bush and ask."
I've definitely done that before.
Here's another example. During a job interview, the interviewer might appreciate someone who answers clearly instead of beating around the bush.
That makes sense.
And imagine two friends talking. One says, "You've been beating around the bush for 10 minutes. Do you like her or not?"
That's a very real conversation.
It happens all the time.
Yesterday, I told my brother, "Don't hit around the bush."
Almost. The expression is beat around the bush. Don't replace beat with hit.
Got it. So if I want to sound natural, I should say, "Let's not beat around the bush."
Perfect. It's common in both personal and professional conversations. But remember to use a polite tone because it can sound a little direct.
I'll remember that.
Great. Now, here's an idiom you'll hear whenever someone makes a very accurate comment. Hit the nail on the head.
Finally, one that actually sounds logical. It does. This idiom means someone said or identified exactly the right thing.
So if my manager asks why sales are dropping and my coworker correctly explains the reason, I can say, "You hit the nail on the head."
Exactly. Here's another example. Two students are discussing why they failed an exam. One says, "We didn't practice enough." The other replies, "You hit the nail on the head."
Nice.
Imagine a family conversation. Your sister says, "Everyone is tired because we've all been working too much." You smile and say, "You really hit the nail on the head."
I like this one because it sounds encouraging.
It really does. It's a nice way to tell someone they're absolutely right.
I think this idiom will be useful at work.
Definitely.
What's next?
Have you ever heard someone say, "Don't let the cat out of the bag"?
Poor cat. Why was it in the bag?
I knew you'd ask that. It means to reveal a secret, accidentally or before you're supposed to.
Wait, that's similar to spill the beans?
Excellent observation. They're very similar. Spill the beans and let the cat out of the bag both mean revealing a secret. Native speakers use both naturally.
Can you give me some examples?
Of course. Imagine your company is planning to open a new office. Your manager says, "Please don't let the cat out of the bag until the official announcement."
That's easy to imagine.
Another example. A family is planning a surprise anniversary party. One child accidentally tells their parents. Everyone laughs and says, "Well, you let the cat out of the bag."
Oops.
One more. Your friend bought an engagement ring. Another friend posts a picture online before the proposal. Everyone says, "You let the cat out of the bag."
Yesterday, I said he released the cat from the bag.
That's understandable. But idioms should stay exactly the same. Say, "He let the cat out of the bag."
These expressions really like staying together.
They certainly do.
So if I already know spill the beans, do I really need this one?
Yes, because you'll hear both. The more expressions you recognize, the easier it becomes to understand movies, podcasts, and conversations.
Good point.
Ready for another one?
Always.
This one is perfect for students, professionals, and anyone with a deadline. Burn the midnight oil.
That sounds dangerous.
Thankfully, no fire is involved. It means staying up late to work or study.
Oh, so if I'm preparing for an important presentation until 2 o'clock in the morning, I can say, I burned the midnight oil.
Exactly.
Here's another example. A university student might say, I burned the midnight oil all week before my final exams. I know that feeling.
A business owner might say, we burned the midnight oil to finish the project before the client meeting.
That's common in many companies.
And imagine an author saying, I burned the midnight oil to finish my new book before the deadline.
Yesterday, I told my friend I burned the midnight oils.
Almost. There's no S. Just say, I burned the midnight oil.
Singular. Got it.
Also remember, this idiom doesn't simply mean staying awake late. It means staying awake late because you're working or studying.
So if I'm watching funny videos until 3 in the morning?
That's not burning the midnight oil. That's just avoiding sleep.
Guilty.
We've all been there.
I'm noticing something interesting again.
What is it?
The more examples you give, the easier the idioms become to remember. I don't remember them as vocabulary anymore. I remember them as little stories.
That's one of the best ways to learn English. Don't memorize isolated words. Connect them to real conversations and real experiences.
And I also noticed we're using the earlier idioms again without thinking about them.
Exactly. That's how native speakers learn too. Repetition in different situations is much more powerful than reading the same definition again and again.
Honestly, I don't feel as nervous about idioms anymore.
That's wonderful to hear, because we still have some of the most useful ones coming up next. We'll learn expressions about making difficult decisions, missing opportunities, feeling nervous, and staying loyal to the people you care about.
Now I'm really looking forward to the next group of idioms. I have a feeling I'll hear them everywhere after today.
I'm glad you're enjoying this, because the next few idioms are some of the most practical ones you'll ever learn. You'll hear them in offices, interviews, classrooms, family conversations, and even sports. Let's start with one that people use when someone else needs to make the next decision.
Oh, I think I've heard this one. Is it, the ball is in your court?
Exactly. What do you think it means?
Maybe someone forgot their tennis ball?
Not quite. When someone says the ball is in your court, they mean it's your turn to decide or take action. The responsibility now belongs to you.
So, if I send a business proposal to a client and I'm waiting for their answer, I can say, the ball is in their court? Perfect. That's a very natural example. Here's another one. Imagine your friend says, I've apologized. Now the ball is in her court. That means your friend has done everything they can, and now it's the other person's turn to respond.
I like that.
One more example. During a team meeting, a manager might say, we've shared all the information. The ball is now in the client's court.
Yesterday I said, the football is in your court.
That's a common learner mistake. The idiom is always, the ball is in your court. We don't usually change the kind of ball.
Even if we're talking about football?
Yes, the expression stays the same.
That's easy enough.
And it's suitable for both professional and everyday conversations? Great. What's next? The next idiom is bite the bullet.
That sounds painful already.
It does, but it simply means deciding to do something difficult or unpleasant because you know it has to be done.
So, if I don't enjoy going to the dentist, but finally make the appointment, I can say, I decided to bite the bullet.
Exactly. Here's another example. A student might say, I didn't want to rewrite my entire report, but I bit the bullet and started again.
That's relatable.
Another example. A family decides to replace an old car, even though it's expensive. Someone says, we finally bit the bullet and bought a new one.
And maybe at work, our team bit the bullet and worked through the weekend to finish the project.
Excellent example.
Yesterday, I told someone I chewed the bullet.
No chewing. The idiom is bite the bullet.
I'll definitely remember that now.
Good. Native speakers often use this idiom when talking about responsibilities they can't avoid.
I think I'll use this one a lot.
I think so too.
What's our next idiom?
Pull someone's leg.
Wait, first we're biting bullets and now we're pulling people's legs? English is very strange.
I completely agree. But this one is fun. Pull someone's leg means to joke with someone or tease them in a friendly way.
So if my friend tells me he met a movie star at the supermarket and then says he was only joking, he was pulling my leg.
Exactly. Here's another example. Your brother tells you, I sold your bicycle. You look shocked, and then he laughs and says, relax, I was just pulling your leg.
That's mean, but funny.
Another example. At the office, a coworker says, the boss wants everyone to work on Saturday. Everyone looks worried. Then she smiles and says, I'm just pulling your leg.
I hope nobody does that to me.
One more example. During a family dinner, your uncle says, we are moving to Antarctica. Everyone is surprised, and then he laughs. He was pulling everyone's leg.
Yesterday, I said, he pulled my foot.
Close, but it's always pull my leg or pull someone's leg.
Leg, not foot.
Exactly. And remember, this idiom is friendly. Don't use it if someone is telling a serious lie to hurt another person.
That's an important difference.
It is.
I think I'm ready for another one.
Great, because this next idiom is one of my favorites. On cloud nine.
That sounds happy already.
It is. When you're on cloud nine, you're extremely happy or excited. So, if I finally get my dream job, I could say I'm on cloud nine? Exactly. Here's another example. A student receives a scholarship and says, when I opened the email, I was on cloud nine.
That's a wonderful feeling.
Another example. A couple buys their first home. They tell their friends, we're on cloud nine.
Nice.
One more. A traveler finally visits a country they've dreamed about for years. They post online, I'm on cloud nine right now.
Yesterday, I said I'm in cloud nine.
Almost. Say, I'm on cloud nine.
On cloud nine.
Perfect. Native speakers use this expression when they're genuinely excited about something special.
I can already think of times when I felt that way.
That's the best way to remember it. Connect the idiom with your own experiences.
I have to admit something.
Go ahead.
At the beginning of today's episode, idioms seemed confusing. Now they actually make conversations more interesting.
That's exactly why they're so important. They don't replace grammar or vocabulary, but they make your English sound much more natural.
And I'm also starting to notice them in movies.
Wonderful. Once you recognize an idiom a few times, your brain starts remembering it automatically.
So instead of memorizing a list, learners should listen for these expressions in real conversations.
Exactly. Listen, notice, repeat, and then use them yourself. That's one of the fastest ways to become more fluent.
I'm excited for the next group because I know we're getting close to all 20. We are, and the remaining idioms are just as useful. We'll talk about missing opportunities, feeling nervous before making a big decision, solving 2 problems at once, staying loyal to people you love, and discovering that something bad can unexpectedly become something good.
Those already sound incredibly useful.
They really are, and you'll probably hear several of them this week if you pay attention to English conversations. We're in the final stretch now, and I have to say, you've been doing a fantastic job, Harry. At the beginning of the episode, you were guessing some pretty funny meanings. I know. I thought people were breaking real ice, paying with their arms and legs and pulling each other's actual legs. And now you're using the idioms naturally. That's exactly what happens when you learn expressions in context instead of memorizing long vocabulary lists.
I definitely feel more confident. All right, what's our next idiom?
It's miss the boat.
Let me guess. Someone arrives late and the boat leaves without them?
That's the picture behind the expression. But the real meaning is missing an opportunity because you acted too late.
Oh, I like that one. So if I wait too long to apply for a scholarship and the deadline passes, I can say, I missed the boat.
Exactly. Here's another example. Your friend says, "Why didn't you buy that apartment?" You reply, "The price was much lower last year, but I missed the boat."
That happens with concert tickets too.
Absolutely. Imagine someone saying, "I wanted to see my favorite band, but I waited too long to buy tickets. I completely missed the boat."
Here's another one. At work, someone might say, if we don't respond to the client today, we'll miss the boat.
Perfect example.
Yesterday I said, I lost the boat.
Native speakers don't usually say that. The idiom is miss the boat.
I'll remember it. Missing the boat means missing the chance.
Exactly.
What's next?
The next idiom is kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Poor birds.
Don't worry. It's only an expression. It means achieving 2 goals with 1 action.
So if I walk to work and exercise at the same time, I can say I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone?
Exactly. Another example is, I called my grandmother while driving home, so I caught up with her and used my travel time well. I killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
That's smart.
Here's another one. A student joins an English book club. They improve their English and make new friends at the same time. That's killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
I like that example.
And in business, a manager might combine 2 meetings because both teams need similar information. One meeting solves 2 problems.
Yesterday, I said, I killed 2 birds by 1 stone.
Close. The correct expression is with 1 stone, not by 1 stone.
These little words really matter.
They do. That's why it's helpful to learn the whole expression instead of translating it word by word.
Good advice.
Ready for another one?
Always.
This idiom is something almost everyone experiences before making a big decision. Get cold feet.
That sounds like walking barefoot on a cold floor.
It does. But it actually means becoming nervous or afraid just before doing something important. So if I'm about to give a presentation and suddenly become very nervous, I got cold feet? Exactly. Here's another example. A traveler books a solo trip, but gets cold feet the day before leaving.
I can understand that.
Another example. Someone is about to start a new business, but gets cold feet because they're worried about the risk.
That's realistic.
And one more. A singer feels confident during practice, but gets cold feet just before walking onto the stage.
Yesterday, I told my friend I became cold legs.
Not quite. It's always get cold feet.
Feet, not legs.
Exactly. Native speakers often use this expression before weddings, interviews, speeches, competitions, and other important moments.
I'll definitely remember that one.
Great! Our next idiom is through thick and thin.
I've heard that in movies.
It's a beautiful expression. It means supporting someone during both good times and difficult times.
So if my best friend always helps me, I can say, she's been with me through thick and thin.
Perfect. Here's another example. A husband says, "My wife stood by me through thick and thin while I built my business."
That's sweet.
Another example. Two childhood friends remain close even after moving to different countries. They say they've stayed together through thick and thin.
Nice.
And imagine a sports team. The fans continue supporting the team even after several losing seasons. They support them through thick and thin.
Yesterday, I said through big and small.
That's understandable, but the idiom is always through thick and thin.
Another expression I shouldn't change.
Exactly.
We've reached the last idiom already?
Yes, and it's one of my favorites, a blessing in disguise.
That sounds interesting. What does it mean?
It means something that first seems bad, but later turns out to be good.
Oh, like losing one job and then finding a much better one?
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Here's another one. Someone misses a flight because of traffic. They're upset at first, but later they discover the flight was delayed for many hours. Missing it became a blessing in disguise.
That's a great example.
Another situation. A student doesn't get accepted into their first choice university, but later attends another university where they meet lifelong friends and discover a career they love. Looking back, they say it was a blessing in disguise.
Life really works like that sometimes.
It certainly does. One more example. A company cancels a project, and although everyone is disappointed, the team later starts a much more successful project. The cancellation becomes a blessing in disguise.
Yesterday, I said it was a hidden blessing.
People would understand you, but the natural idiom is a blessing in disguise.
I really like that expression because it's optimistic.
I like it too. It reminds us that sometimes we don't see the positive side of a situation until much later. Wow, we've learned 20 idioms today. We certainly have. Think about everything we've covered. Now you know how to break the ice when meeting new people. You can describe an easy task as a piece of cake. When it's time to study seriously, you can say you're going to hit the books. If something happens very rarely, it happens once in a blue moon.
And if I'm feeling a little sick, I'm under the weather. If someone reveals a secret, they spill the beans or let the cat out of the bag. If something is really expensive, it costs an arm and a leg.
Exactly. And when someone avoids the main point, they're beating around the bush. If someone makes exactly the right observation, they've hit the nail on the head. If you've been working late, you've burned the midnight oil.
When someone else needs to make the next decision, the ball is in their court.
If I finally decide to do something difficult, I bite the bullet. If my friend is joking with me, they're pulling my leg.
And if you're extremely happy, you're on cloud 9. If you waited too long and lost your opportunity, you missed the boat. If one action helps you achieve 2 goals, you've killed 2 birds with 1 stone. If I become nervous before an important moment, I get cold feet. If my friends support me in good times and bad, they're with me through thick and thin. And sometimes, a bad situation becomes a blessing in disguise. That's an incredible collection of everyday English. But here's something important for everyone listening. Please don't try to memorize all 20 idioms tonight.
Instead, choose 1 or 2 that you really like.
Use them in real conversations. Write your own example sentences. Listen for them in movies, podcasts, TV shows, and YouTube videos. The more times you hear them, the more natural they'll feel. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Remember how many mistakes you made today?
Too many to count.
And every single one helped you learn something new. That's exactly how language learning works.
I honestly feel much more confident than I did at the beginning of this episode.
That's wonderful to hear. Confidence doesn't come from knowing thousands of words. It comes from using the words and expressions you already know.
So, everyone listening, don't wait until your English feels perfect.
Start speaking today.
Use today's idioms in conversations with friends, classmates, coworkers, or even while talking to yourself.
Practice a little every day, and you'll be surprised by how quickly your English begins to sound more natural.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like this video.
Subscribe to English Vibe Podcast for more practical English lessons and natural conversations.
We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell us which idiom was your favorite and which one you're going to use this week.
And if you know someone who's learning English, share this podcast with them. Learning is always more fun when you practice together.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Keep learning, keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep enjoying the journey. Every conversation is another step toward fluency.
Until next time.
Take care, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode of English Vibe Podcast. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.